How's it going, everybody? I want to thank all of the subscribers, new and old, or veteran, if you will, for all of the continued support on the channel and all of the recent feedback and stuff like that. It's been 2016 has been a very interesting year so far. A lot of stuff has happened, good and bad. And one of the things that I like to do at the end of every year is to give some reflection as to how the year has been. Um, Take a look at the negative things and what the negative things were, and how I can, what I could have done to make those negative things, maybe not make them as bad as it may have been. I also like to take a look at the positive and see, what it was that helped me get to where, where that positive thing came out. So I would like to thank everybody for 2016. I don't know how many subscribers we've added over the last year, but I can tell you for the past 3 years. Let me think here. Um, Four, something like that. We're just shy of 5,000 subscribers, which is huge in my opinion. So I never knew or had any inclination or expectation that it would ever get to the size that it has grown to. So that is all on you guys. We're spreading the word, things like that. It's been extremely beneficial to know all of you. I don't know anybody personally really well, but there's a lot of you that I don't know at all, but that's okay. You probably know me more than I know you, which is completely fine. It's all good at the end of the day. So, like I said, I like to reflect back on the year to see what I've done. So, from the beginning of the year until today, um, uh, it's been kind of a year. I mean, it's been crazy the amount of stuff that's been done, from a professional perspective and from a personal perspective. There's been a lot of things that have happened in 2016, both positive and negative. Um, I'm a firm believer that if something negative happens in your life, that it happens and there's usually a reason why. There was a negative issue, a negative experience, or um, a negative event in my life in the beginning of the year that reshaped the way that I do things now, which is good because um, I had gotten complacent in something that I was doing and wasn't really being challenged. And it took some, how do I put it? Um, it took some, it took some diagnosis, diagnosing, sure. It took some time for me to look at where I was at and look where I was going, and the two didn't gel. So they didn't dovetail together. So for me, it was better to move on to better and bigger things. As you know, that quite a few courses of mine were released on INE, which I was really happy about that. Another year down with them, which is good. It's always a positive thing to be able to continue moving forward and things like that. Overall, it was a pretty good year. There was some setbacks, but that's with any year. I mean, if you don't have at least one thing in your in that year period of time that causes you problems. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, there's probably several. Um, you never if you never challenge, you never grow. So that's my biggest piece right now. It's if you understand why things happen to you, and you can, during the time you're going through them, they're usually, why is this happening to me? Why me? And I said the same thing, but I also had to think to myself that why me is a very selfish way of looking at things, and um, I don't like to look at why me, it's why now. And the reason I say why now and not why me is because one thing is, if I say why me, then again, I feel selfish. And were there things that I had to go through that I didn't want to deal with? Absolutely. It happens with everybody. but I also look at it from the perspective of what did I learn from that experience, and what can I do to boost myself up to the next level? How do I get over this obstacle? And wise man once said, for anything that doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Well, okay, sure. Um, I feel like if you have setbacks in your life that, and everybody does, it really boils down to how you want to handle that. Do you get knocked off the horse, so to speak? Do you fall down? Do you get stopped in your, do you let the obstacle slow you down or stop you? And if you do, okay, I will never tell anybody what to do, but I will be like, okay, if this obstacle is stopping you from moving forward in your path, whatever that path might be, whether it's professionally, personally, whatever, is that where you want it is where you are now, where you want to be? And if that answer is yes, well then you know the answer. You want to keep it the way it is. I personally don't feel that that's ever going to be the case for me. I'm always going to be trying to find the next best way to do the thing that I'm doing, and whether that's my current career with the employer that I'm with, whether it's a new training venture, if it's new future potential employers, I honestly have no idea. Um, but what it really comes down to is where are you at now, and where do you want to be? And if there are obstacles in that path, do you let those obstacles deter you from reaching your goal, or do you continue moving forward? And my answer to that is always going to be I take stock of the situation I'm currently in, and I determine based off of the situation I'm in, okay, what are my options to get this resolved? I try to apply a solution, like an engineer. I try to apply a solution to something if there's a problem. One of the major issues that I had was at the beginning of 2016. I received there was a really bad windstorm in my area, and my roof had a lot of damage, and so we fought with the insurance company for quite a while, a lot longer than you probably should, and they ended up not wanting to cover us. So I had to take in a very expensive roof repair, um, take it on the chin. Somebody like the insurance company won. They didn't pay. I had to pay for it out of pocket. And if anybody if you're, I don't know how it works outside of the U.S., but I know in the U.S., having your roof repaired, if you've got a decent sized house, I would like to think that I have a decent sized house. Um, it's going to cost you a lot. So I had to basically, I had to absorb that cost. So I had to go and we had to, look at our finances and see when could we afford to do this, and we had to save some money, and then it was a big chunk of money that had to go out to pay for that. So, um, it was one of those things where it wasn't so much the money going out that was a setback. It was all of the fighting with the insurance company to try to get them to pay for something, and they weren't going to pay for it. We ended up trying to get another company to help us fight the insurance company, and that turned out to be a lost cause. So there were a lot of this stuff, right? A lot of up and downs that you're like, all right, cool, we're gonna get this fixed, and then it would come down, and this went on for several months. We eventually did get it fixed, and I was able to get the roof fixed where the roof was back in place where it needs to be. Really nice warranted work. So I'm happy about that. That's just one of the setbacks, but that was a setback that was affecting other things. Like I couldn't buy equipment to do something that I wanted to go do, so I ended up having to put everything on hold. So um, that was one situation. There was changing employers mid-year. You know, leaving a very toxic environment for myself and moving on to something that gave me room to grow, room to work with people, working with people, both leadership and my colleagues, that allows me to grow the network. Where I'm at now, it's a very positive place. So I enjoy working there. I enjoy the people that I work with, and I like the employer that I work for. And that's um, that's one of those things where you have to take stock of things. So it's one of those things, like I said, you have to take inventory of what's going on in your life at that moment and determine, okay, am I going to let this knock me down? And I try to stay very positive. But like anybody, there are times, and this is always off camera. I'm not a vlogger where I walk around with a camera and I vlog everything that I do. I don't have the camera on the wife and kids. You know, there's a lot of things that I don't show you guys, and because of the fact that it's not really something that anybody probably would care to see. But at the end of the day, it's my life. I have to deal with that. I can't go online and go boo hoo hoo and go along those lines. I have to take it on the chin and roll with the punch. And I think I do a fairly good job of doing that. When you guys see me, I'm all happy-go-lucky. There are times when I'm extremely upset and I have to, I have to go, I am really, really pissed. And you guys would never know. I do a pretty good job of hiding. I'm in a really good mood right now. It's the end of the year. I am enjoying some quiet time on New Year's Eve. I know you guys are like, you're not at a Christmas party? Not really the party kind of guy. I did spend some quality time with the family earlier, and went out, saw a show with the wife, went to dinner, all that good stuff. And now it's back, as you can see on the screen, some study time. And the reason for that is because, which brings me back to my second part of the video that I wanted to cover, was what are you planning on doing in 2017? And the reason I bring this up is because I'm a person that believes in goals and deadlines. So you have a goal and you have a deadline. You might have a goal, but you don't have a deadline, so to speak, to go with it. So we're human. I can attest to this, where you say, you know what? It's okay if I don't get this done in the next 6 months. I am a strong believer in you have a goal, put a deadline on it. And what does that deadline do? Well, even if you don't go out there and publicly announce it on whatever social media platform like Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, but have it written down somewhere. I like to keep a, what do you call it? I have a whiteboard to my right. Actually, I'll break my own rule. I will show you my whiteboard. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring you guys up. Hopefully this doesn't. Let me do this. Hang on one second. I'll pause the video. So let me go ahead and try this one more time. I fixed my cabling issue. So let me go ahead and bring this down just a little bit. All right. So what you guys will see here right there. So what you guys see here, I know it's a little hard to read. Let me go ahead and. So what you're going to see right there is my whiteboard of things that I am working on for service provider. Now, what that basically means is everything on the right side of the screen, these things, or the right side of the video here for my webcam, that is going to be all the stuff right here is basically what I'm working on. So I've done all of this up to this point. What I'm doing is I've actually skipped ahead to PBB, EVPN, and regular EVPN. I'm doing that right now. And then once this is done, I'm going to go back up to IP encapsulated layer 2 VPN. And then once that is done, it is on to layer 3 VPN. And then layer 3 VPN is going to be all this stuff right here. And if we go to the right a little bit and up to the middle, let's see here, I need to go that way. I have my intra-AS advanced technologies. So it's going to be like Lisp and Unified MPLS and IWAN and things like that. And then if you bring it down to the top up here, you have like MGRE and things like that. Then you bring it down here. Then I've got stuff like high availability, MPLS traffic engineering, loop-free alternate, things like that. That's going to be another chunk. And then after that, it'll probably go to something along the lines of, and then I'm not sure on yet exactly which way I'll go with it. But a lot of that stuff is going to be, go ahead and readjust that. A lot of that stuff is going to probably jump into multicast and things along those lines, and then QoS and go from there. But that's my game plan. Now, I am shooting for, and bear with me here, I'm going to go look up a date for something real quick. So, pardon me real quick while I break the rule of don't Google when you're on a live video. So, to the end of June. So that means I have literally about 6 months-ish. Let's see here. Let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. So it is December 31st, and I'm looking at January 30 or January 31st, March 31st, or wait, February. Sorry, I jumped a month. So let's say January 1. I have January 1, February 1. That's 1 month, and then March. So January, February, March, April, May, June. Most of June. So I have around 6.5 months to plow through and knock out the material that is on the blueprint for Surface Spider version 4 for the written exam. That is my goal, is by the time Cisco Live 2017 comes around, is to have my written, be ready to go sit for the written. So I don't know if I'm going to be going to Cisco Live this year or not. 2017, I am hopeful. I'm waiting for my manager to give me the thumbs up to go. And if that turns out to be the case, then great, I will be going to Cisco Live. If not, well, I'll have to wait till the next year. But my goal is to go to Cisco Live in Las Vegas in the end of June and take the written exam. And that'll give me six solid months to get that done. And if it works out, great. If not, well, so be it. I would have to postpone it. I would like to take the Surface Spider version 4 lab sometime at the end of next year. So at the end of third quarter, beginning of fourth quarter, sometime in the fourth quarter of 2017. That's when I would like to go take the lab and hopefully become a dual CCIE by that time. That is the goal. But I have goals, which is the point of what I'm trying to get across here. Have a goal and have a deadline and map it to each other. So one of the things that I'm doing is, and on your screen here, you probably see a bunch of Cisco Live sessions here. And a lot of what I'm doing here is I'm covering technologies that I'm not as familiar with and bringing myself up to speed on, well, like the BGP stuff is just, some of the advanced capabilities that BGP can do. So I have this, and if I grab this guy right here, I've taken a lot of notes. And for those of you that have been following, I'll be taking all of these notes and putting them into Dropbox. And you guys will be able to download this as a, excuse me, you'll be able to download this as a text file that you'll be able to do whatever you want with. So it'll basically, I will have watched the Cisco Live presentations for all of these, and I'll be able to go take that to the next level. And a lot of this stuff is not specific to, so the majority of it is specific to SPB4, and for that reason. So like for instance here I've got PBB and EVPN topics that I've been covering, and then I'm looking at like multicast, what are some of the deployment models and how do they work. So a lot of this stuff is just, it's not so much for the written or for the lab, it's more for, I should say it's more for the written, and going from there. So there's a lot of details here that I need to go through and cover so that I can go through and say, okay, well, what's going on here? Now, I have some other platforms that I've sprinkled in here, like the Nexus 7K, the 7700, Catalyst switching architecture, so I can see how they do things. This is just because of the fact these are platforms that I deal with every day, and not so much service provider. But I'm looking at some of the capabilities that are out there that I can work with that will enable me to be able to do what I need to do. So the main focus that I'm looking at here is stuff that might be talked about in the written exam or in the diag section of the Service Provider Lab. So these are things that I definitely need to cover so that I understand what they are and how they work. And other parts of this are architecture type related topics. You know, um, how am I moving forward with what I've got going on, and how am I what are my capabilities that I haven't covered. So a lot of this stuff is a high level cursory understanding of what is going on in the network. Like, and the reason I do this is because for me, there's not a lot of detail in the documentation for some of this stuff. So these videos that Cisco puts out on Cisco Live are extremely beneficial to someone like myself, because then I can say, okay, well, I know I have a situation like, you know, I learned about segment routing last night. I spent a couple hours just going through the video and understanding what it is that, you know, segment routing is and what it does and stuff like that. So that gives me a lot of capabilities in that regard. So I'm able to sit there and go, okay, well, I get that. And then if we come down here, I have another block of content that I want to look through, which is, you know, carrier Ethernet. You know, what are my capabilities in here? So, you know, Service Provider Edge architectures and, you know, carrier Ethernet and in-band OAM for IPv6. You know, I'm trying to be as thorough as I can without spending a ton of time on material that I don't need to know about. So a lot of this stuff is good because it's, you know, actual legit use cases that customers are using. So it's really beneficial in that regard. Well, here's my segment routing video that I went through, which is good because I like segment routing now. I understand it, so I get to go and play with it and how it works and take that to the next level. And then I have I've got a couple of IGP based videos that I'm going to go through, and then let's see here. I have high availability in the core, like IPFLA, IPFRR, things like that. IWAN, I want to learn IWAN. I want to learn Lisp and VXLAN better and understand how they work. And then obviously troubleshooting and doing some BGP. So I'm spending a lot of time going through the high level stuff. There's really not a whole lot of, there's no lab associated with these guys. It's more or less the understanding, because the better I understand it, the better I'm going to be able to deliver material to you guys. So I want to wish everybody I hope everybody's 2016 was good and things like that. And I wish you all the best moving forward into 2017. So if you guys have any questions, any concerns, I'm going to put my Twitter handle in the uh, Twitter, and I'll put on my LinkedIn information in the video description, so you guys can go ahead and reach out to me if you'd like to. I'll throw my email address out there in case anybody wants to reach out to me, stuff like that, and go from there. You guys have been awesome. Don't stop what you're doing. If you get discouraged, realize that we all get discouraged. If you need a pick me up, or you're not sure what the next step is that you should be taking, you know, spend the 2 minutes, write me a quick email. I'll do my best to get back to you. I make no guarantees, but if you post here, you know, they're public, so anybody can respond to them. So I do my best to get back to everybody, but then again, you know, I average. I don't. I think I noted this on somebody else, that I get an average of 50 to 100 emails a day from people looking for help, whether it's a technical question, they're looking for some guidance, what have you. And quite frankly, there's not enough hours in the day for me to dedicate to 3 to 5 minutes per person. So I would have to it would be a full-time job, literally, to respond to everybody's email. So a lot of times you guys get missed. I read through the email. If it's something I can respond back with a couple line answer, I do it. If not, well, I do what I can. So social media is there for a reason. Utilize it. So until next time, guys, like I said, I hope 2016 was good for you. It was good for me. I enjoyed 2016. I'm hoping that 2017 is even better, and I'm going to do everything I can to do that. So, like I said, if anything's blocking you or in your way, or it's an obstacle of some type, figure out what you have to do to get around that obstacle. It may not be an answer that's going to just pop into your brain. You might have to sit there and work at it. like I said, fixing my roof was a 6-month ordeal. So, you know, it's one of those things where you just kind of have to, you know, stop, figure it out, and just go with it. So until next time, guys, you guys have been awesome. Take care. Happy New Year, and until next time.